So if we look at what we're doing today, we are looking at this method of representing relationships. So let us talk about it. Okay. So the ways in which we can represent relationships is this. I can have a flow diagram. Okay. I can have a table. I can use words. Remember when it says describe this relationship in words? That's using words to represent the relationship. I can also use an equation. And if you remember last week, what I said is we were going to spend this week, Tuesday, focusing on how we use graphs to represent relationships. So there's actually 5 ways that we have learned about now in which we can represent relationships. So we've done flow diagrams, we've done tables, we've done words, and we've done equations. What we haven't really done is we haven't done these graphs. And Itandile is asking, how do we represent a relationship using words? It's when you describe the pattern, when you literally use words. So something like a table and a flow diagram, that's using almost pictures, that's using an image to represent the relationship. When we use words, it's describing what is happening instead of using the picture. So when they said describe the relationship, when you said adding 2 to get to the next term, that's representing a relationship in words. And so if we look at part of what we did last week, it says, let's consider the patterns we looked at in the last lesson. And if I go back super quickly to last week, Thursday's lesson, look at what we had done. They gave us the rule, y is equals to 3x minus 1. I'm sure you guys can all see this little equation that we had done over here. Y is equals to 3x minus 1. And last week, what we did is we used a flow diagram and we represented that equation using a flow diagram and a table. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the same pattern, and I want you guys to see it's the same relationship. It's the same equation. So it's the same pattern. It's the same function that we've written here first in an equation. Then we've written it as a flow diagram. Then we've written it in a table format. And now what I want you guys to see, I'm taking that exact same equation and I'm going to show you how we can write it out as a graph, how we can represent it using a graph. So first things first, as we know, we need to fill in this table, and we did it last week, but for anybody who wasn't there, we're not going to leave you left out. What we do is we take our equation, y is equals to 3x minus 1, and we substitute our inputs into that equation. So wherever I see x in my equation, I'm going to substitute -2. So let's see, 3, -2, minus 1. 3 times -2 gives me -6. -6 minus 1. Sorry, I closed the chat. Layla, hi. And Cabo and Ethan, you guys told me -7, 100%. -6 minus 1 is -7. Cool. Let's look at the next one. Y is equals to 3. And where I see x, I want to put in -1 instead. Okay, that's going to leave me with y is equals to 3 times -1 is -3 minus 1. And Cabo again has told us -4. Next one. Y is equals to 3 times 0 minus 1, which is 0 minus 1. And that is -1. Lucille has asked, ma'am, what do you do with the what do you do with the x? Can you elaborate on that, please, Lucille? What do I do with the x? So from what I'm understanding from what you're asking, it is, yes, x is the input alias. So I take my equation, My equation is y is equals to 3x minus 1. And now remember, my y is my output, and my x is my input. So what I want to do is to fill in each one of these blocks in my table. I'm going to take my equation, which is y is equals to 3x minus 1, and my x row over here is filled in. So to fill in each block here, I'm going to take my input that I've been given, and I'm going to put it into my equation. So that's what I do with the x, if that was the question that you were asking. I hope that's answered your question. If not, try asking again, or raise your hand and we can talk about it. So this is -1. This was -4. Okay, thank you. Cool, cool, cool. Then we have Bila has said 2. Yeah, who is saying 2? I see somebody else said 2. Sorry, I missed it in the chat. Valentine. Let's check. We have y is equals to 3. And instead of putting in x, I'm going to put in 1 minus 1. And that is 3 minus 1. So 2 is correct. Thank you. Let's do the next one. Y is equals to 3 times 2 minus 1. 6 minus 1. And you guys are correct. That is 5. And let's do this last one over here. Y is equals to 3 times 3 minus 1, which is 9 minus 1, which gives me 8. Okay, you guys seem to be okay with substituting our answers in here. So that's really, really good. Now that we've done that, let's put this on hold for a little bit. I want us to look at our Cartesian plane. On Tuesday last week, what we did is we spoke about these characteristics of the Cartesian plane. And remember, the Cartesian plane is really just a space where I am going to set up my graph. So what I want you guys to tell me is, I want you to tell me, you want to screenshot Umuhle 100%. That is okay, Apple. If you want to catch up with what we've done, you can go and watch the recording tomorrow. But so far what we've done is we've just filled in this table with the equation. Okay, so can anybody tell me, what do I have to do on this Cartesian plane? Let's first talk about my axes. I remember my Cartesian plane is made up of 2 axes. Somebody tell me which one is my x and which one is my y. How do I know? I need to label them, but I'm not really sure so far how to label them. Immediately, yes?
Ma'am, the x-axis is the one going up, and then the y-axis is on the one on the side.
Okay, not quite. Not quite. Remember, the way that we want to remember it is we say y to the sky, and then the other one is going to be my x. Okay, Mihle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Thank you for answering. Itandile, were you asking a question, or did you also want to answer?
I wanted to answer, ma'am.
Do you agree with what I just wrote on the board?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Isandile. Let me just read the chat quickly. Vertical is the y-axis, yes, Shady. X is on the left, but lies horizontally. Y is the sky. I'm not sure if you're asking a question for me, Brie, but what you've said is correct. The x-axis is not so much the left axis as much as it's just the horizontal axis. So it's this whole line. The whole line is my x-axis. X is horizontal, Y is vertical, 100% Alia. Yeah. Okay, so everybody's getting it correct in the chat. Oh my gosh, Alia, that was my next question. 100% the middle is my origin. Alia, can you tell me what are the coordinates of my origin? Can anybody tell me what the coordinates are of my origin? Itandile, I see you've put in a 0 to the power of 0. And I see everybody's just saying 0. But remember what we learned about as well. We learned about how to write coordinates. And remember, my coordinates are always in the form of x and y. So I'm asking for the coordinate pair, and Alia has done it beautifully for me there. It is 0 and 0. Okay, so if I were to ask for the complete coordinates, and Uma Atando, yes, 100% this is the format that we write our coordinates in. And so if I were to ask for the full coordinates of the origin, it is 0 and 0. So everybody who said 0, you weren't wrong, but you needed to tell me which was my x 0, was my y 0, what is 0. That's what we do when we're dealing with these coordinates. We always have to say either my x coordinate is 0, y coordinate is 0, or we write it in the format of an ordered pair, a coordinate pair. Itandile, your hand is still up. Please lower it if you don't have a question, or if it's just up from the last question, or you can keep it up and I'll get back to you. Okay. Then what we also know is I can number my axes, okay? And in numbering them, how do I number them? If I'm starting at the middle, let's look at my y-axis. If I'm starting in the middle and I go upwards, what should this first number be? Lucille?
Oh, wait, what is your question?
So if we look at the middle, we're starting in the middle of my y-axis. If I go upwards, so I'm at this first notch over here that I've made, what should the number be over here? What would the number be?
Oh, okay. So the first number would be 1,
1.
and the second one would be 2,
Mhm.
and 3, 4, and 5.
And going downwards, what would that be?
Okay, so it will be -1,
Mhm.
-2,
Mhm.
-3,
-3, yes.
and -4,
Mhm.
-5, and
And
-6.
-6. Nicely done, Lucille. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So what I want you guys to now see is that when we go upwards on my y-axis, my numbers are positive. And when we go downwards, my numbers are negative. We learned that last week. Then we can apply the same numbering on my x-axis. And this is just a normal number line, as you guys know. And when we're on a normal number line, is my right positive or negative? Can somebody tell me? Is the right side of this x-axis, should it be positive? And thank you, Bree. Yes, it should be positive. Okay. So this is the whole setup you guys are going to do when you are drawing a graph. Before you can even get to the drawing of your graph, you have to set up your Cartesian plane, because your Cartesian plane is the space in which you have to draw the graph. The other thing I want to tell you guys is it doesn't matter which side of the line you do your numbering. I just swap sides at the bottom here so that my negatives wouldn't clash on the side with the notches that I made. So it doesn't matter which side you did your numbering on. As long as you made your numbers, that's 100% okay. Now, what I want you guys to see is, remember when we spoke about my coordinate point? I told you there's always an x and there's always a y coordinate. And Uma asked if it's geometry. No, it's not geometry. So we spoke about there always being my x coordinate and a y coordinate. What I want you guys to see is if you look at each little column in my table, each column contains an x and a y coordinate. And so from my table, what I can do is I can use these pairs to write out coordinate points. And so let's look at this first column in my table, or it's technically the second column, but let's look at the first column of answers. If I were to write my coordinate points in the format X and Y, this first column's coordinate point would be when my X value, when my input is 2, my output is -7. And just like that, from my table, I have written a coordinate point. Do you guys see that? Do you understand that? Lucille has given me a
Yes,
thumbs
ma'am.
up. Thank you for that. Thank you, Liaho. Hando, thumbs up. Sort of. That's okay. Uma will look at the rest of them. So let's look at this. Let's try another coordinate. Remember, the coordinate pairs are just the collection of X and Y values. So when my input is something, what is my output? Here, when I have an input of -1, my output is -4. Okay, let's look at this. I have an input and I have an output. So 0 is my input, 0 is my X value, Y is my output, -1 is my output, that's my Y value. I know all of my coordinate points can be written in the format X and Y. So because I have an X value here and I have a Y value here, all I really have to do is go 0, -1, and that's a coordinate point. So I hope that everybody who has asked me to repeat or said they sort of get it, it's starting to make a little bit more sense now, and you're seeing how I'm just taking my X and my Y values and putting them together. Remember how it works is that for every X value, depending on what my X value, I'm going to get a different Y value. Whatever my input is, I'll get a different output for that input. And so really all we're doing is we're putting our input and our output together. My input was 1, my output is 2. My X is 2, my Y is 5. And that is how we do coordinates. And Rory-san, yes, it always, always, always has to start with the X value. If you do it the other way around, you're going to get it wrong. And then we have 3 and 8. And now how we do this is, uh-oh, I need to get to the side, but it's so full of, there we go. Okay, how we do this, when we start plotting on the coordinate points, what we do is I have to go to this place, -2 and -7 on my Cartesian plane. And remember, we always start with our X value. So I'm starting over here. This is where -2 is. And then I need to get to -7. So -7 I can see is going to be lower than what I actually have on my graph. So let's just say -7 would have been, and let me go more down. Let me go more down then. Okay, I'm going to extend this to include -7, and -2 and -7 is going to be this point down there. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up or thumbs down that everybody understands or doesn't understand how I got this purple point over here at -2 and -7? Rory-san, yes. Oh, sorry, Rory-san put his hand down. Liaho, yes.
Ma'am, can I take a screenshot?
100% you can.
Okay, ma'am.
Do
Yeah,
you
thanks,
need me
ma'am.
to scroll up or was it this?
Yes, ma'am, a little bit up.
Okay. Do you want me? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, ma'am.
Pleasure.
Cool.
Okay. So, Bree, you're not understanding. What is it that's confusing you, Bree? Yes.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I didn't understand how come we ended up putting -7 like beneath instead of on top. or does it like it doesn't make much of a difference?
Remember, I just added -7 here because I was following my number line. That's how the numbers go in order: -1, -2, -3, -4, 5, 6, and then -7 would have been below that. I can extend this line even more. And if I follow the numbering of my number line, this would have been -8, -9.
Okay, then when looking for the coordinates, like which side can we look at? Like, how do we know which side to look at?
So remember, we are always going to look at our x-axis first because that's how our coordinates are set up. It's the x value first and then my y value next. So my x value in this first coordinate was -2. So because I was dealing with an x value, I knew to look at this horizontal line to find -2, and that's how I ended up here. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And then because I'm on -2, I then moved on to find my y value of -7. And because I was looking at a y value, I was looking at this axis over here. I was looking at my vertical axis. And that is why I went down here, added in -7. And if I was on this line of -2 and then this line of -7, I drew the point where those lines would have crossed. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay, so I hope if anybody was confused, that also made a little bit sense. So let's move on. So I'm gonna just number this as -2 and -7. Let's try our next point. Our next point was -1 and -4. Okay, so -1 is my x value, so I'm going to look on my x-axis, okay? And this is -1 over here. So right now where I'm at is I'm at this line on -1. Okay, let's look at -4. For -4, that's a y value. So I'm going to look at this vertical axis. And I land up on that line over there. That is my -4. That's where I see -4. And so the point that I need to draw is this point where those two lines meet. And that is over there. I hope everybody was happy with that. Next, so we've done this. Our next one is going to be 0. So my x value is 0. I'm then going to go to my x-axis. I'm going to 0 in the middle. Sorry, excuse me. I am going to 0 in the middle, and now I need to look for -1 on the y-axis. And if I go down to -1, my point ends up being right on that axis, which is over there. If I try putting in this point of 1 and 2, remember my 1 is an x value, so I'm going to go to my x-axis. Here is 1, and I'm looking for 2 on my y-axis, and here is 2. And if I check where we would have met, right up there. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs ups in the chat. Yeah, brain break. We'll see how that goes. I might actually have to skip some of it because this took a lot longer than I expected. Okay, but then we have 2 and 5. 2 and 5 will be up here. How did I get this point? I went to 2 on my x-axis. You can draw your dotted line, and then 5 on your y-axis, and that is where they meet. And last point is 3 and 8. Now, what I want you guys to see is I'm going to go to 3 over here, and I need to get to 8 on my y-axis. But you can see I haven't made my Cartesian plane big enough. So this is just where I'm going to stop. I don't have space to put in that last coordinate point. But if I did, it would be somewhere up here, because this would be 6, 7, and 8 would be here at this point. Okay. And then what we do, once we have drawn in all our points, the only thing left to do is to take a ruler, and I don't know why these lines never follow where I tell them to go, but you need to take a ruler and draw a line connecting all of the points, and that is your graph. And now, remember when we have graphs, we kind of want headings. Remember, we want a heading, we want to label our graphs. And so it's not the same label as you guys would normally know, where you write a heading on the top of the graph. Here, how we label our graph is we label it with its equation. So y is equals to 3x minus 1. And I have now drawn and labeled my graph. Can I get a last round of thumbs up or thumbs down to see that everybody is with me on how I got this? Yes, Rorisa.
So, ma'am, is the y equals 3x minus 1, is it the heading?
It's basically our heading. We don't really call it a heading now. We call it a label. So if we have labeled this graph as y is equals to 3x minus 1, yes.
So does it always has to be numbers and equations, like the labeling of the thing, or like can you also label it in the words?
Yeah, it's always going to be really numbers because we don't really have words anymore now that we're dealing with this Cartesian plane. If you take a look at it, you can just see it's just a whole lot of numbers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we don't really have
Thank you,
words.
ma'am.
What you could do, if you didn't want to label it with this whole equation, you could also just label it as y. Because remember, y is my output, and this is the graph representing that output. So you could also just label it as y. But the more conventional way is to label it with this whole equation. Okay, Rory-san?
Thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. Yes, Layla?
Ma'am, I have a problem with the a line. I don't understand why it's there.
What don't you understand?
The line, the purple line that you made.
Yes. Okay, so all I did was I just joined the points that I had made to draw my graph. Because before what I was doing is I was just plotting points. I was just drawing points on my graph. And now to show what my graph actually looks like, I have to join the dots to show that actual physical solid line graph.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay, yes, and I do agree that it is time for a break. So let's go here. We have a brain break. If anybody was new, we play One Must Go for our brain breaks. You have 4 options, and then you have to choose what you would get rid of if you had to get rid of one. Lola, your hand is still up. Are you answering my brain break, or are you putting your hand down? Putting your hand down. Itandile, yes.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
Ma'am, in my defense,
Mm-hmm.
I would say lace.
Oh,
Ma'am, I would say lace. Because, ma'am, have you seen when you open the packet of the lace? Ma'am, they are broken, they're not even, they're just, ma'am, they're irritating. They
okay.
just broken. They're not large. Like I can understand for like the simmer chips. Like I understand. But for the Lay's, guys, the potatoes, guys, they have to be round. They're broken. Most of the time, ma'am, you find that there's still crumbs underneath. And then there are a lot of crumbs. There's no chips. It's just crumbs underneath the bag. And it's irritating.
Okay. I mean I get it. I get it. I just I really like some of the Lay's flavors. It's the best flavors I've ever tasted, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
So I feel like that makes up for the broken chips, you know? But let's see. Thank you, Itandila. Let's see if Rory-san agrees with you. Yes, Rory-san.
Ma'am, I don't mind the Lays, Mara. If there's this one chip like this, you see Doritos, ne? I'll get rid of that because, ma'am, like I like the flavors, ne? Mara, the way they're shaped, ne? Like you sometimes when you like chew it wrong,
It
it like
hurts.
pokes you, and then now you're getting like your own food is poking you, so you don't know how to eat. You have to eat slow. So like Doritos.
Okay, I get that. I could see your point of view. Yeah, that makes sense. I also feel that sometimes when you're eating Doritos, it like hurts you. It literally cuts you from the corners. So I get
Yay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you. Let's see what Liacho has to say. And then Bree, you
Ma'am,
can keep your hand up. Sorry, Liacho, just let me tell Bree. I'm gonna move on to the next one after this, but keep your hand up and you can answer the next one. Yes, Liacho.
so ma'am, I'm gonna say Lay's, ma'am. I think, but ma'am, I can also say, ma'am, I can say Doritos can also go because I don't like the triangle shape. Like, ma'am, I feel like Doritos, ma'am, they must just change their shape. Because,
Yeah.
ma'am, when you chew it wrong, it pains. Can even go to your throat. I can choke a little bit. So
But
Doritos, nice. But Doritos,
yeah,
ma'am, I love Doritos, ma'am. But the triangle version must go. It must just go. Then it
but you
must
see,
like be
that's like their
squares.
signature. Their signature shape is a
Yeah,
triangle.
ma'am.
And
Yeah,
also
ma'am.
remember with a square, there's gonna be even more corners with a square.
Yeah, that's kind of facts. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah, ma'am.
Pringles. I didn't really see anybody saying Pringles, but for me, it's like this thing is like 35 Rand. You get like 6 chips, and it's once you get to the bottom of the tin, it's like you're putting your whole hand in this tin. Like it was never for me.
Yeah, that's the suckest thing about Pringles.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Nyako. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one, guys. Brie, I said Brie could answer the next one. Um, okay. So again, I don't know what sweets you guys were eating, but these are like OG sweets for me. Fizzes, lollipops, chappies. Lollipops, specifically fizz pops, but you can also just think of any lollipop. And then chappies. Chappies must be specifically chappies, like specifically chappies, not like any nice, infinity. No, 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 no. We're dealing with like 50 cents chappies. Yes, Brie.
Personally, I'd have to get rid of the jawbreakers because I've went through a lot of trauma from eating that. So no, thank you. I'm good. Nah, my mouth has went through things while eating that. So no, but I love me some gum. Like gum is, if I could, I'd buy it every day. But like, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I feel that. The thing for me is, like, specifically this Fireball Jawbreaker, the taste is unmatched. Like, I love the taste of the Fireball Jawbreaker.
Nah, that could never be me, man. Yo, high class. Nah, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
Brie, I respect that. And you know how you said you have trauma with the Jawbreakers? For me, I have trauma with fizzes. Like, they're just so hard to eat.
Okay, I can agree on that, but they're still really good and they come in different flavors and sizes. So you could give
Okay,
it a win, the benefit of the doubt.
true. Okay, thanks, Brie. Let's see who's next. Okay, I see a few hands up. Itandile, I'm gonna take your hand and then Rory-san, Yahoo, you'll answer the next one. Yes, Itandile.
Ma'am, so ma'am, the trauma that Bria has, man, I also have it. The jawbreakers, ma'am, like the fiery taste, like I get it. The fiery taste is nice. But
Mm-hmm.
then, ma'am, the chappies, like it's like a lot. Like, ma'am, the trauma I've had. Like, I could also give away like the lollipops, because I never liked lollipops the first place. I just never liked them. I just only liked bubblegum. I would buy bubblegum every day if I could. The rest can stay. Chappies and fizzes.
Okay, okay,
The rest
Itandile.
can
I
leave.
see. I see. Yeah, okay.
Trauma, man.
Yeah, the trauma is a lot. I'll give you that.
Yes,
Thanks,
ma'am.
Ipendile. Okay, let us go on to Rory-san. Last time for this one, and then Leah will answer the next one. Okay, I'm just gonna lower that hand. Yes, Rory-san.
Yeah, ma'am, like I'm not a bubble gum person. Like I once tried chippies. Like I don't like the chewing in my mouth. Like there's too much chewing. But I like the lollipops, those specific lollipops. I like the acid inside of it. That's sour flavor in it.
I
Yeah.
also
Other
do.
than that, the
So much
chippies,
inside.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so are
can
you
let
saying
go.
you'd get rid of chappies?
Yeah, chippies.
Wow, I think you're the first person that I saw that said that. But I haven't been reading the chat also. So, okay, Rory-san, I see you. Thanks for keeping my jawbreakers in.
Thank you.
Okay, and then last one. Rahul, I don't know, you kind of got a boring one, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure you'll have an interesting answer for us here.
Ma'am,
Okay, Rahul and
how can you
Leila.
say that, ma'am? How can you say that, ma'am? How can you say that? But anyway, ma'am, this one is quite hard, ma'am. Because I like pasta. I like everything that's here. So I don't know what to pick. Oh my gosh. This
I
is
know it's
tough.
hard.
It's hard, ma'am. But ma'am, I'm gonna have to say rice, but I like rice so much. I'm gonna have to go rice. I don't know, ma'am.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you because there's like, yes, I eat rice, but there's not too many things that I eat rice with. And I feel like pap
True.
can replace rice, you know?
True, ma'am. Like pap is good, ma'am. Pap is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Rafa, for that. I'm gonna take
Thanks,
Leila
ma'am.
and Umar's hand for this one, and then we're gonna call it a day on our brain break. Yes, Leila.
Hello, ma'am. I think Pop needs to go because I like eat it every single day.
Right, but that's because it's like a staple, you know?
I disagree. Like if there was a variety, yes, maybe I would keep it there. But like I eat it every single day.
Okay,
I
I see
became sick of it.
that. I get that. I get that. Yeah, but what are you gonna replace it with, you know?
Simple bread.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Thanks, Leila.
You're
Let's see
welcome.
what Umar has to say. Yes, Umar.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
I'll get rid of bread.
Oh my gosh, that's hard. Why bread?
Okay, yeah. We can make a roti, ma'am.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true. You are onto something. Fine. I agree with you. But like also think about sandwiches. Don't you take sandwiches for lunch at school?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then bread is out for you. Okay, Uma, thanks for that. You gave us a valid point there on that. Okay, and just because I see two new hands, Zach, I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds max to answer. Yes, Zach. I haven't heard you in a while.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Zach.
Okay, so originally I said rice must go, but then I thought for a second and I realized like rice, there's so many things you can make with rice, like sushi and all that stuff.
Oh, you're right. Okay. So what
So
did you
I got rid of pap because I don't really eat it that much, and yeah, that's all I
Okay,
have to say.
I see that. Yeah, I feel like for me, pop, like I even eat pop as dessert. So it's like just versatile for me. Like as you say, you can do a lot of things with rice. Like I feel like you can also do a lot of things with pop. But okay,
Don't
Zach.
get me wrong, pap is actually very nice. I just never eat it.
Yeah, yeah. I also don't eat it that often, but when I do, you know, then it happens. Okay, but yeah, good point. Thanks, Zach, for that. We're giving up sushi with giving up rice, so that's a super good point. And then, Jenna. Yes, Jenna. I'm excited to hear from a new person. Yes.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I just wanted to say to all the people that are getting rid of rice, you are actually, we're not friends. Because I'm not getting rid of my sushi and I'm not getting rid of any curry or saucy food that I eat. And
True.
then I would get rid of bread and pap.
Two, you're getting rid of two.
Yes, because I can live with noodles and rice. Because you have bread too much and then I don't eat pap, so.
Okay, I get that. So you're taking rice and pasta for lunch, Jenna. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Oh no! I mean, I said I eat bread too much, so I can live without it at this point. I've had a lifetime's worth of bread.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Thanks, Jenna, and thanks for participating. I love
No
hearing your voices.
problem.
Jenna, Liacho's telling you to chill. Okay, anyways, back to work, back to work, back to work. Okay. We're going back to this guy over here. Anybody want to help me fill in the table so I don't have to do all the calculations myself? 6 minutes, yes. Yes, thank you, Itandile.
So, ma'am, are we starting with the table, ma'am?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to help me fill it in?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go.
So, we write our formula, which is y is equal to negative x plus 3. You're gonna say y is equal to negative, substituted negative 2 plus 3, which is gonna be y is equal to positive 2 plus 3, which is gonna be 5. And then the next one is going to be y is equal to negative x plus 3. And so y is equal to negative substituted 1 plus 3, which is going to be negative
Remember,
1.
it's negative 1. So a negative and a negative gives me that positive. And then I'm going to left with 1 plus 3, which is
4.
4. There we go. Next one.
Then say y is equal to negative x plus 3, which is y is going to be equal to substitute x with 0 plus 3, which is going to be negative 0, which is going to be 0. Ma'am,
Remember,
is it 0?
it's 0. Negative times 0 is just 0. And then plus 3.
Which is going to be 3.
3, there you go.
Then it's going to say y is equal to negative x plus 3. Then y is equal to substituted x with 1 plus 3. Then it's going to be negative 1 plus 3.
Yes.
Which is going to be positive 2.
Correct. And
Y
Alia and Kabila got that in the chat. Thank you. Yes, next one, Itandile.
y is equal to negative x plus 3. Substitute substitute x with positive 2 plus 3, and then you're gonna say a negative times a positive would be negative, so it's gonna be negative 2 plus 3, and then it's to be y is equal to positive 1, and then
100%.
y is equal to negative x plus 2 plus 3, sorry. Then it's going to be substitute x with positive 3, and then plus 3. Y is equal to negative 3, yes, plus 3, which is going to be equal to 0.
100%. And then, do you want to help me? Okay, stay here, Itandile. If nobody helps me, I'm going to ask if you want to help me. Does somebody want to help me now writing out all of my coordinate points? Does anybody want to help me writing my coordinate point, which I'm going to plot? There we go. Bree is going to help us. Thank you, Itandile.
My pleasure, ma'am.
Okay, yes, Bree.
So our coordinates for number 1 are going to be -2 and then a colon 5. Would I be correct if I said -2 is to 5? Or is that for a
So
completely different topic?
it is for a completely different topic. That's for ratios. So we're not doing ratios, so you're not gonna say is to.
Okay, so -1 and then semicolon 4 and then 0 and then the semicolon 3 and then 1 semicolon 2 2 semicolon 1
100%.
and then 3 semicolon 0.
Thank you so much for that, Bree. So, yeah, Bree, that was beautifully done. If anybody doesn't understand what just happened, all we did is we wrote our table, which is X and Y values, in the format of coordinates. And we know my coordinates are in the form X and Y. And so what I'm going to do is now that I have my coordinates, I'm going to label my Cartesian plane Y to the sky. The other one is X. The middle is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. And Alia is right, we do have 0 seconds left, but I'm going to take another 2 minutes. If you guys do need to leave, by all means, please do. It was a very lovely lesson today. Thank you, guys. Liaho has a question. Yes, Liaho.
Ma'am, ma'am, now when is the boot camp?
The boot camp, the first session will be this Saturday.
This Saturday, okay, ma'am. Do we have to book or anything?
Yes. So you'll have to sign the form or like fill out the form and send through your payment, I think by Thursday. And then
Okay, ma'am.
yes, you have access to it.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks. Bye, ma'am.
Pleasure. Bye.
Boy.
Okay, so -1. And guys, what I'm doing now is I am just, yes, Alia 100% correct. I'm just labeling all of my axes right now. -5, -6, -7. Bye to everybody who's saying bye to me in the chat. Rory-san, yes, do you have the question?
Ma'am, the boot camp, like, are we doing it online or do we have to go to a place?
It is online.
Online.
Yes.
Ma'am, every Thursday, can you please send the quiz thing?
Yes, I do send the quiz link every Thursday, so it will be in the chat from now on.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. Itandile, your hand is up. I think you put it up recently. Do you have a question as well?
Oh no, ma'am. I don't have a question. I'm very sorry.
Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna take another 1 minute and I'm just gonna plot my points. So my first point is -2 and 5. Remember, we start with a x value, so I'm gonna go to my x-axis, -2, and then we have 5. I'm looking now on my y-axis. We have 5 over there. Also, guys, sorry, I just closed the chat super quickly so I can draw these points because it was blocking my points. I'll open them up again soon. And so if you look, guys, -2, 5. Next point, -1 and 4. X-axis, -1. We're going to go to the 4 over here. -1 and 4. Next point is 0. So 0 is on my x-axis over there. And then I'm going up to 3 on my y-axis, which is going to be right there. We have 1 and 2, and then 2 and 1, and then 3 and 0. How did I get this point over here? Remember, x-axis first, 3 was here, and then I needed to find 0 on my y-axis, which is right here in the middle. And so that's how I got my point there. And then the last thing that you do is you just join the dots. And you should see when you join the dots, this line that you draw should go right through all of the points that you've drawn. And I'm going to open up the chat now. I see 8 messages. Sorry, ma'am, can you take a screenshot? Liacho, 100% yes. Goodbye, Layla. Uma, yes, minus 3 minutes left. Good luck to everybody writing. 100% yes. And with that, I'm going to officially end our lesson. It did end like a few minutes ago. But that is that. If you want to take a screenshot, now is the time to do so. Amo, if you missed the beginning of the lesson, I said that I forgot to do the quiz podium for today, but I'm going to include it in Thursday's lesson. So come for Thursday's lesson and you'll see the quiz podium. So thank you to everybody who stayed. I hope I didn't take up too much extra of your time.